Hello and welcome to Impera Project, a project built on a dream. Today we want to talk to you about a very interesting subject which has been a topic up for debate for the past year: artificial intelligence. The creation of this new technology has raised a lot of concern and has split the people into three different camps: the scared, the hype, and the uninterested. We will focus on the first two. Personally, we are not bothered by the creation of this new, in theory, revolutionary idea. We are intrigued, but not scared in the least. We do understand the concerns and the potential problems that might arise from this particular situation. And today we are going to express our own opinion by analyzing some problematic cases which appeared as a result of misusing the AI. But before we start this video, we would appreciate it if you'd press that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, leave a like and a comment in which you express your own opinion. Is the AI dangerous in your view? Should we do something about it or let it develop itself as its creators intended? Now, without any further ado, let's start this debate. Firstly, when we say AI, we refer to all its varieties. Now, the term AI is not really true. If we talk about ChatGPT or about any other generative AI, be them used for image generation or for voice alteration or for music, they are all part of the same family. But they do not have any form of true intelligence. They are not sentient and they do not learn in the true sense of the word. So they are not artificial intelligence per se, but more a sort of glorified parrots. Why do we say that? If we take for example the case of ChatGPT, sure, it can generate your text based upon an input, most of the time a question. Yet the glorified parrot doesn't understand the meaning behind its own words. It just tries its very best to predict how a correct answer might look like. The chances of it returning a correct answer both in form and in meaning depend greatly on the databases it was trained on. So it just imitates what has the most probability to be a correct answer, again both in form and in meaning. Same can be said about image generators. By analyzing a large group of art and artistic styles, based upon your input it tries to give a correct output. If we want a glass to be drawn, it will use its databases to find the best thing that looks like a glass and apply to it a certain style, because it is after all visual works. There are a lot of words that the creators and people pushing AI as some sort of revolutionary work, the second coming of Jesus, used in order to manipulate, to make it bigger than it truly is. At the end of the day, the reason why so many people are so enthusiastic about it and so many people are so scared about it is the way it was presented and also a bit of pop culture. We have all seen movies which try to predict dystopian futures in which some sort of artificial menace threatens the existence of the humankind. And we probably all have some sort of bias when it comes to imagining this kind of future. If there is one thing the average folk is afraid of, it is the unknown. But the exact same thing happened with cryptocurrencies. They were using really big words and promised the endless sea and nothing happened. The problem with this pattern of overreacting to a new technology says a lot about us as a race. But that's not the topic of today's discussion. But as you can see, the generative AIs are not the first thing that was advertised as some sort of revolutionary technology that will forever change the world. Same was said about the cryptocurrencies, about electric cars, and why not about colonizing Mars. Yet the world is still the same. In Romanian we have the saying, it is the same Mary, but with a different hat. Nothing truly changed. That's why we are not afraid of the AI, because it is not a big deal at the end of the day. Yet, while this technology itself is just one more dumb tool in the shed of humanity, it is interesting to watch the moral dilemmas it imposes on us. So far we have seen a lot of situations which threaten the balance of power in our society. Every time a new technology appears, all the way back from the Industrial Revolution, somebody wins and somebody loses. This on a social and working level. In the second part of this video we will talk in depth about some other moral implications, which do not threaten social equilibrium, they are just terrible decisions to make. Let's take the first instance and analyze it. At the half of July there was an actors' strike at Hollywood, which from what we know is still going on. The reason behind was that the actors and all the artists in general are not paid according to their talent and their contribution. And we like to see that these men and women of culture are finally taking a stand. From our point of view, an artist deserves to be paid very well because they are indispensable for our society. Take, for example, the lockdown. All of us were probably binge watching shows on Netflix or reading books or listening to music. Those people who make these artistic endeavors possible deserve every single penny they get. They got ripped off and went on strike as the managers and the executives were better paid than them, and this is a situation we see quite often in our late capitalist society. The middle and upper management, which most of the time don't do much, are treated like kings, while the hard-working people who make everything possible are not. But there was also the argument of using AI in the movies. An idea was submitted that background cast could be scanned by an AI and paid only once, and then the companies could use their image and their voice without any restraint. This is not only ungrateful related to the talent of a certain actor and their work, but it is also a cheap tactic which could lead to a considerable downfall in the quality of the movies. CGI is another interesting example. Remember how happy was everyone when the clones from Star Wars were actually played by real people? We remember as in the prequels every single clone was CGI'd. The same goes here. The syndicates asked for guarantees that the AI will never be used to imitate or recreate the aspect or the voice of an individual. So as you can see from this situation, we wouldn't say that this dumb tool is dangerous, but the way greedy people choose to use it. The idea that you can replicate someone's aspect using a computer without any effort is mind-blowing. Yet without proper moral training, it can be used by greedy corporations to further lower their costs and to further send people into poverty by no longer needing them. The same happened with cryptocurrencies. Every time a technology brands itself as revolutionary, it couldn't be further from the truth, as it just strengthens the status quo, not because the technology is bad or ill-intended, but because people are so, and they find unethical uses for it. The executives say that it is unrealistic to expect to be paid in accordance with your work, yet Netflix used to offer almost $1 million per year for a job of product manager using AI, which is more than enough to pay 35 actors. The second example we want to talk about, it's a bit more personal as it should affect us as well. If you have been watching our videos for some time, you know that we are teachers and writers. Just like in any other creative domain, the AI has shown its teeth in ours as well. Or did it? These text-based generative AIs have been trained on countless books as well, without ever asking for the consent of the authors, thus breaking copyright laws. Quoting from an article in The Atlantic, the future promised by AI is written with stolen words. This debauchery of thievery has led to outrage among writers, with Sarah Silverman suing both OpenAI and Meta because these AIs have been able to perfectly imitate her style. Most of the writers demand that these companies be forced to ask explicitly for their permission before including any of their works in the training databases. But there is someone who has a different opinion on this matter, the king of horror, Stephen King himself. You probably already know who Stephen King is. He is probably one of the most popular writers in recent history, known for books such as The Shining, Pet Sematary, It, and so many more others. Books which have buried themselves deep in pop culture and the collective mind. All his books were used in training these text generators, yet he doesn't seem bothered by it at all. Now, we know that a lot of writers disagree with these statements, yet we agree. Now you have to understand that if you ask ChatGPT about us, it will tell you that it never heard of any of our works, and it's normal as we are 100% sure our works weren't in its training materials. But there is one reason why we don't feel afraid of it ever imitating us. It is not us. When someone buys a book, he buys it because he wants to connect with the feelings and the adventures of the writer. It is a way in which you can communicate with someone long gone or someone you will never meet in person. Find more about him, understand him on a personal level, create a deep bond. Sure, the AI can create a story in the style of Charles Bukowski perhaps, but it is not Charles Bukowski who wrote that story. Therefore, it is just fake and unworthy of any attention. We think you get our point. There are many more examples in this domain of AI being used to further oppress the already oppressed. But we once again say that it is not the tool that is bad, but the way people choose to use it. We can compare it to a gun. By itself, it won't harm anyone, but when used with ill intentions deliberately, it becomes dangerous. There is one more example we want to discuss before stating the conclusions. The next example doesn't have any social and economical implication, only moral ones. There was a situation in Spain in the city of Almendralejo, in which multiple girls with the ages between 13 and 15 discovered nude pictures of them circulating on the internet. The idea is that a certain AI was used in order to remove their clothes, leading in some circumstances to a perfect match. Those pictures were actually realistic, it seems. In this situation, compared to those above, there is nothing illegal and we believe it shouldn't be. Now, before you take out your torches, listen well. Morally, it is wrong, obviously. Legally, it is not. Those pictures were not real pictures of those girls taken without their consent, so no crime was committed. Sure, the implications and the mental stress those young girls had to suffer is terrifying, but the way we see it is that we as humans should control ourselves. We already stated that this is just another tool and we have to choose how we use it. The idea that you can undress someone using a computer is strange and says a lot about us as humans, yet just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. In the end, we don't fear the AI because it is nothing new. It's just another big thing that will probably come to pass just like any others. We do believe it is quite useful, a versatile tool which can be used to learn and access knowledge easier, yet it can become dangerous when misused or used with ill intent. But trying to censor it or to stop it from developing and expanding itself is not the solution. If this new technology is truly here to stay, we need to further improve our moral capacities as well. Just understand what we said before. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. We thank you for your time as we reach the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. As this channel grows, our mission to challenge certain ideas and debate difficult topics becomes easier to accomplish. If you want to become part of our community, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, a share and a comment to help with the algorithm. Thank you very much for your time and we will see you next time.
いで